Claiming an Education by Andrienne. This particular part is prescribed for you in your Sagist paper. Now let us have a look into the speech Claiming an Education by Andrienne. Before moving into the speech, let us have an introduction regarding Andrienne. Andrienne was born on May 16, 1929 at Baltimore, US. She is an American poet, scholar, teacher, and critic. And of course, she is a very strong campaigner of women's rights. Through her poetry, through her works, she expressed the need of society to treat everyone equally. Now, moving on to the text that is Claiming an Education, it is actually her convocation speech. It is this text that is prescribed for you is actually a speech delivered by Andrienne in her convocation ceremony at Douglas College. It was later titled as Claiming an Education and was reprinted in the collection on Lies, Secret and Silence. In this particular speech, she emphasizes the need of education and the need of educating women. And here she says that education requires an element of active personal initiative. And she also speaks about the cause and reason of why women should get educated. First of all, in her speech, she places the difference between claiming and receiving. And she defines claiming. To claim is something, or to claim is to take something as the rightful owner. While we are receiving something, we are accepting something that is given to us. So she is saying that according to Andrienne, we should claim our education, women should claim our education instead of receiving it. Now she is pointing out the weakness of university learning, and she is saying that the weakness of university learning is an erasure of women's experiences throughout the curriculum. In spite of the claims, in spite of the activities, in spite of the women movements, Andrienne says that, observes that university curriculum and university syllabus, women life and women experiences are backgrounded. She also observes that there are a number of women students in higher learning, but very few students can be seen in administrative position in most of the institutions. So she is claiming for an absolute restructure of education. She is saying that even Douglas College, though it is a women's college, it is administered by men. And she is saying that university education should focus on human behavior, and while focusing on human behavior, it should focus on the life of both men and women. She is saying, she is observing how the university education neglect the life of black, neglect the life of minority community, and neglect the life of marginalized women. And she is giving examples of some of the text like the decent man, man and his symbols, irrational man, the phenomenon of man, the future man, man and machine, from man to man, may man prevail. By projecting all these books, she is observing how university education focuses on the life of men, where the life and the living experiences of women is absolutely placed or is absolutely backgrounded. She is saying that with the rebirth of feminist movements, we can see a number of women teachers and women students in university, and women's studies are still growing, and women's studies offer women more intellectual space to express their talent and ability. She is speaking about the need of essential experiences. She is saying that there should be more essential experiences that students should owe themselves, where women's studies can greatly enrich. And by essential experiences, Douglas means that the experiences or the experience of taking responsibility towards yourself gained through interaction with outside world. By responsibility to yourself, Douglas means refusing to let others do your thinking, talking, and naming for you. It means learning to respect and use your own brain and instinct. So she is claiming for an essential experience that every woman should develop through their education. And by essential experience, she relates to the responsibility that we are providing to ourselves, where we refuse others to think, talk, and name for you. We should develop an independent thinking, an independent attitude, and we should be able to independently express our own viewpoint. And it is this sense of independence, it is this sense of courage what Andrienne Rich terms as essential experience. She is saying that you should never treat your body as a commodity. And if you try to treat your body as object, your mind will be in immortal danger. You should be able to develop an independent sense, and you should be able to develop an independent attitude while you are developing your friendship and while you are developing your love. And only an independent mind can have respect, and only an independent mind can provide and take respect. She is quoting the words of Charlotte Bronte, where in Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte says, "I have an inward treasure born with me, which can keep me alive if all the extraneous delights should be withheld or offered only by a price I cannot afford to give." So she is claiming for an independent space that every student, irrespective of women or men, should develop. And it is that independent self or independent attitude or independent space what Douglas claimed as essential experience. She says that students should not fall for easy solution. And she is saying that students should never consider marriage as an escape from the real life problems. Marriage is not an escape from problem, and marriage and getting pregnant is not an evasion, is not a removal of existing problem. You should refuse to sell your talent. She is asking women students that they should refuse to sell their talents and aspirations simply to avoid conflict and confrontation. She is saying that women should resist the forces in society which say that women should be nice, play safe, have low professional expectations, drown in love and forget about work, live through others, and stay in places assigned to us. So in short, she is claiming that she is observing that, or rather she is pointing that women should develop a space for their own, and they should develop an independent space to express their word to express their attitude, to express their talent, and to take their own decision. She is saying that you should insist on a life of meaningful work. You should insist that the work we are doing is as meaningful as love and friendship in our life. We should develop, all students should develop the courage to be different. We should demand that, all students should demand that their parents, friends, roommates, teachers, lovers, husbands, children respect their sense of purpose and integrity. And everyone should begin to feel committed to their life, and they should be responsible towards themselves. Now, in the later part of speech, she is addressing the faculties of Douglas College. And she is saying that every faculties should consider their students seriously. She is observing that many teachers, irrespective of whether men or women, they are trained in a male-centered tradition, and while they handle the class, they are sticking on to the ideas and texts of that male-centered tradition. So she is insisting for a change. She is insisting that every teacher should impart the sense of, the skill of clear thinking, active discussion, and excellent writing, which of course provides intellectual freedom to students. So what is needed now is not the ready-made solutions. It is not the ready-made theories, ideas, and ideology, but she is demanding for Andrienne Rich is demanding for an intellectual freedom, and which of course can be imparted by productive learning experiences. She is saying that we should reject the attitude of take it easy, why worry, you will probably get married away, etc. She is saying that every student should see herself engaged with her teachers in active, ongoing struggle for a real education. And teachers must be committed to the belief that women's mind and experience are intrinsically valuable and indispensable to any civilization. So no women life and no women experience should be omitted. And she is saying that she is observing that women's college is an intellectually fertile place in academic college today, and that space should be utilized. She is saying that, Douglas is saying that a contract between faculty and student, a pledge of mutual seriousness between faculties and student should be there for proper imparting of education. Education, knowledge is the product of shared commitment, and this shared commitment should be there between teachers and student. And if there is such shared commitment, if there is a college, if there is an academic space that provide that shared commitment, no woman's mind will be wasted, paralyzed, or denied. So these are the main points that Andrienne Rich focus on her essay. Now coming to the summing up of claiming an education. Actually, claiming an education, as noted earlier, it is the speech delivered by Andrienne Rich at her graduation ceremony in Douglas College. The speech was delivered in 1977, but we see that it is relevant in spite of the time shift. In this speech, she conveys the message that students should be more responsible towards themselves. And she is voicing for gender equality in education. Adrienne Rich addresses the staff and students of Women's College, Douglas College, and speaks about the need of women to get educated. And she is saying that education should be taken as a demand and students should never be passive followers of educational sectors. They should demand their need in education. And she is pointing out the difference between claiming an education and getting an education. In claiming an education, we are demanding, and while we are getting an education, we are receiving. And Andrienne Rich focus on the concept of claim and education. She is saying that students should claim their education instead of receiving it. While students are claiming their education, their role is active. They are the decision makers. They can decide how and what they should learn, and they will be more responsible. She is dividing this particular speech while she is delivering the speech, addressing the staff and students of Douglas College. She is planning to divide her speech into two. Where the first part she plans to address the students of Douglas College, and second part she plans to address the teachers of Douglas College, and later she is dropping the plan and she is having a common address to all students and teachers of Douglas College, because she considered that staff and students are of same categories. Now she is speaking about the need of educating women, and she is saying that women should be asserted with their right to get educated. So these are the main points. She sums up by saying that there should be an ethical and intellectual contract between students and their teachers. Students should claim their education rather than receiving it, and they should assert their educational needs. They should never be passive. Instead, they should be active. And she is saying that educational field is still controlled by a patriarchal group, and it is time to change. She is observing how women's voices and experiences are unrepresented in curriculum and how women's experiences are silenced and erased. She is saying that this imbalance that exists in curriculum needs to be corrected. For this, women should take the initiative. They should be more responsible towards themselves, and they should take the challenge to voice and demand their priority. She is saying that taking responsibility is not an easy task, but women should be able to come out. They should be able to come out from their traditional role and prioritize themselves. They should be responsible towards themselves, their dream and desire. And for becoming responsible towards themselves, they should develop self-respect, which Andrienne Rich calls as essential experience. She is saying that women should never consider her body as a commodity or object, and she should take real challenges. Women should never consider motherhood, marriage and pregnancy as shortcut to block their achievements. And they should realize that their work and their relationship are equally important. She is saying that women should be responsible, and a responsible woman can understand about the importance of her work. She can convince others about the importance of her work, and she can convince others about her goal of life. Women should take equal opportunity to prove themselves, and girl students in administrative space and colleges should be given more space to excel. They should be provided with the freedom for free thinking, active discussion, and excellent writing. And true intellectual freedom should be given to students. And this is this intellectual freedom that we are attaining while we are claiming our education. She is observing that women students are always conditioned with the word adjusting. They are conditioned to adjust for the sake of family. And she is saying that, Douglas is saying that women should come away from this conditioning and should realize that they are not trivial. They should respect themselves and should demand the same respect from society. Women should claim respect and should be responsible. They should be able to convince others that they have a purpose in their life. And teachers should encourage their students to read and write in an advanced manner. Andrienne Rich is saying that women should disapprove everything that make them passive. She is observing that they are not provided in the society that governs with male-dominated society. Women are not provided with equal opportunities. But once they are provided with an opportunity, they can truly excel. She is saying that, before concluding her speech, she is saying that the staff and students of Douglas College should enter in a contract where they should treat each other seriously. Every women students should be convinced that they are actively involved in the process of education, and it should be asserted that there is an active involvement between teachers and students. This is how she concludes her speech. While she concludes her speech, she is making this remark. Women's college is most fertile of all spaces. In order to make women's college intellectually fertile, staff and students should engage in a serious contract. Students should be convinced that they are engaged in active education, and teachers must be convinced that voice of women is essential in the world. World without women voice is incomplete, and teachers should be convinced that voice of women should be heard. Women should come up with their true potential and should contribute best to the society. This is how she concludes her speech. Thank you.